Good evening. My name is Manny Machado, and I'm the Public Information Officer with Caltrans District 1 assigned to Lake and Mendocino counties. I want to welcome you all to this virtual public meeting. The primary purpose for this meeting is to update you on the construction stages. If my screen will work. The primary purpose for this meeting is to update you on the construction stages and traffic handling plans. I would now like to introduce Jamie Mattioli, Corridor Manager, Program Project Management, Caltrans District 1. Good evening, Jamie.
Hey, good evening, Manny. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jamie Mattioli, Caltrans District 1 Corridor Manager, and I'm responsible for major projects on State Route 1 within Mendocino County. I just want to briefly discuss Caltrans' strategic plan and how it aligns with the Pudding Creek Bridge project. Caltrans values engagement, equity, innovation, integrity, and pride. I'm grateful to the project team and to our emergency response partners for engaging and working closely to keep people safe and to keep essential services available while managing a few night closures that we will need to efficiently construct this project. Equity ensures a safe transportation system for all. Now, safety comes first, and this project reflects that commitment. This project improves safety and accessibility for pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers, all while enhancing the northern gateway of the city of Fort Bragg. Pedestrians will have a safer and more comfortable walk from, say, town to Pudding Creek Beach once this project is completed, and pedestrians can take in that scenery from a separated pedestrian walkway. Later in the presentation, you'll see a photo of the completed bridge, what it will look like. So our mission is a reliable transportation network that serves all and respects the environment. Our vision is a brighter future through a world-class transportation network. And I believe this project lives up to that mission and vision. In closing, I just want to say thanks for attending this evening. We look forward to working with the community to ensure we have an efficient and safe construction of this project, and all while keeping you informed of events like this that will affect your day-to-day life. So thanks for attending, and I'll pass it back to Manny.
All right, thank you, Jamie. Now the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Now Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination based upon race, color, and national origin. Specifically, 42 U.S.C. 2000D states that no person in the United States shall, on the grounds of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Using the chat feature and WebEx to send a chat message, open the chat panel. In the send to or to drop-down list, select the recipient of the message. Enter your message in the chat text box, then press enter on your keyboard. Please refrain from using the Q&A feature and reserve your questions. Information about how to have your questions answered will be provided later in today's program. And again, throughout the presentation tonight, feel free to take notes for the slide, number the slide, and then your question, and we will answer questions and comments at the end of tonight's presentation. Again, we're recording tonight's Pudding Creek Bridge presentation, and it will be posted on the Caltrans Pudding Creek page, webpage. All right, and now I'm going to send it over to Karen Kuderod with tonight's presentation. She's going to talk about construction staging and also traffic handling plans. Good evening, Karen.
Thank you, Manny. Hi, everyone. I am Karen Coonrod. I am the project manager on this project. So this slide shows you the existing Pudding Creek Bridge looking south and a simulation of the completed widened bridge. The project will widen the Pudding Creek Bridge from 41 feet to approximately 59 feet. The completed project will have two 12-foot wide traffic lanes, two 8-foot wide shoulders for bicycles, and 6-foot wide pedestrian walkways on both sides of the bridge. The existing bridge length will not change. The new pedestrian walkways will have a pedestrian rail with lighting, and the bridge rails will be upgraded to meet Caltrans' current safety standards. New sidewalks will be constructed on both sides of the highway, north and south of Pudding Creek Bridge, and additional work includes modifying the drainage systems and relocating the city of Fort Bragg's water main and sanitary sewer lines. During stage 1 construction, the contractor will close the southbound traffic lane to widen the west side of the bridge. One-way reversible traffic will be controlled with a temporary signal system. Traffic delays are expected from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And during the week, Monday through Friday, we are anticipating traffic delays to be typically 20 minutes. Traffic volumes are higher on the weekends, and we're expecting approximately 30-minute delays. The Elm Street signal would be turned off, allowing Route 1 traffic to flow freely. Traffic on Elm Street would be controlled with temporary stop signs. Stage 1 construction and traffic control is expected to be in place from June 15th to August 30th. And there are 5 full road closures that will be needed to safely install the precast bridge girders and to relocate the sewer main. During stage 2 construction, the contractor will widen the east side of the bridge. Because of the widening in stage 1, there will be space for two-way traffic using the southbound lane and shoulder. The Elm Street signal would be turned back on, and stage 2 construction and traffic control is expected to be in place from August 30th to October 17th. Again, we need to close the road for 5 nights to safely install girders on the east side of the bridge and to relocate the water main. 10 complete road closures are needed to install the precast girders and to relocate the water main and sewer lines. Currently, we're expecting the full closures to occur for 5 nights between July 12th and July 20th, and for 5 nights between September 11th and September 25th. These dates may change based on the progress of the project. Full closures would occur at night from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. between Sunday night and Friday morning. Advance notification of closures would be provided at least 7 days prior to the closure. The project includes a motorist information plan to alert drivers of the full road closures. Portable changeable message signs will be installed at the intersection of Route 1 and Route 101 at Leggett, and at the intersection of Route 1 and Route 20 at the south end of Fort Bragg. An emergency response plan will be in place in advance of the full closures. We are coordinating full closures with emergency responders. First responders will be located on both sides of the bridge during all planned full road closures. The emergency dispatch officer will contact the contractor's safety officer, who is the designated point of contact to coordinate the bridge opening for emergency crews. Construction will escort the emergency responders through the construction site. A contingency plan has been prepared to provide appropriate action for unexpected events and delays. Safety is Caltrans' highest priority. You can help make trips safer by following these work zone safety tips. Be work zone alert. Don't speed. Watch for workers. Expect delays. Allow additional time for trips. Keep intersections clear, and be patient. Thank you for listening to this presentation. Manny will now read the questions that have been submitted through email or the chat feature, and members of the project team will provide a response. Additional questions or comments can be submitted to Manny Machado at Manny Machado at dot.ca.gov. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Karen. Again, if you have a comment or question, feel free to give your question in the chat, and then we'll read the questions and answer your questions and concerns as the best of our ability. Our first question tonight, is it possible to allow for one-way controlled traffic instead of a full road closure?
So I'll let construction respond to this. I'll just say, the full night closures are needed for worker safety and space for the equipment. And we have looked at doing one-way reversible traffic control, but I'm going to let construction speak on this.
Hello, this is Jeffrey Wright. I'm the area construction engineer for Mendocino County. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
So it is not feasible to construct a job and have no full closures. It is required to close the bridge intermittently. As was covered in the presentation, there will be up to 10 full closures of the bridge that will be necessary. It's anticipated at this point that we'll have 2 back-to-back closures to allow for the relocation of the sewer line, and then there will be a gap in the staging, and then they'll have potentially 3 back-to-back closures to set girders for the new widening section on one side of the bridge, and then there will be a gap in that sequencing, and then there will be another 2-night closure potentially to relocate the water line on the other side of the bridge, and then there will be a gap in that staging, and then there will be another 3-night back-to-back closure that will be required to set the girders for the other widening side of the widening of the other side of the bridge. So with the staging that's needed for the crane access to be able to put the girders and a water line in place, we must close the bridge. We have been working with emergency services to try to figure out ways that we can clear the area to allow emergency vehicles through, but there will be a lag time that's required to make that happen. So we're trying to come up with ways that we can open things up if we have to for emergency services, but in order to complete the project as it was permitted, we must have full closures of the structure up to 10 times is what's forecasted right now. And
All right.
that concludes my answer.
Thank you, Jeff, for that. Our next question tonight comes from Andrew Jordan, and he's asking, how will detours at Route 20 and 1 allow travel to the other side of the fully closed bridge?
Manny, could you repeat that question?
Yeah. The question, how will a detour at highways 20 and 1 allow travel to the other side of the fully closed bridge?
So, go ahead, Jeff. Were you going to speak?
I was going to try to answer that.
Yeah,
As part of our communication plan that was established in the project, we have changeable message signs that will be staged at the intersection of Highway 1 and 101 and Highway 20 and 101. And I believe there's other message boards at Highway 20 and Highway 1 that advise of the full closure occurring, so that if motors choose to, they can select a detour route that directs them, as a hypothetical example, that runs from, if they're running northbound and you get to the Highway 20 and 1 intersection, you're at a decision point, and you can elect, if you choose to drive Highway 20 to Highway 101 to Leggett, and then come back down Highway 1 back to Fort Bragg. We realize it's an extensive detour, but that is a feasible route that can be employed if necessary. We went through an extensive design process, and based on the permitting conditions that we were expected to comply with, this is the leanest schedule that we can have and still construct the bridge as contemplated.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Our next question tonight comes from the California Highway Patrol. Do you have a time estimation for the longest an emergency vehicle may have to wait to cross with an escort through the closure?
Yeah, we probably need to defer to our contractor partner a little bit, but initial conversations with the contractor suggests that if given the notification, depending upon where we are with a critical pick, it could be up to 15 minutes from the time that we are notified that we need to make a clearing to allow emergency vehicles to pass to the time that they actually could pass through. I know that there's been also additional discussions with the emergency services people, and they have developed a plan where they can have a side-by-side UTV vehicle that can access from the Pudding Creek Hall Road. I'm sorry, the old Georgia Pacific Hall Road across the Pudding Creek Trestle, and transfer emergency gurneys and things like that in the event of an extreme event. And so that is being contemplated, and emergency services have a plan where they'll be staging vehicles as needed to respond to emergency events as required. We've tried our best to develop a good plan here with the various emergency services, and but to answer the question directly, we're hoping that it would be 15 minutes maximum from the time when a need to pass an emergency vehicle to the time that vehicle could pass, to allow the bridge to be cleared for that passage.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Our next question, referring to slides 7 and 8, this is from John Glidwell. I would like to request consideration regarding full road closures for those 10 days from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Is it possible to change those hours to begin after midnight? I've been thinking about this, and I can't figure out how our hotel employees will come and go for their graveyard shifts starting at 11 p.m., or how hotel guests will arrive very late or depart very early.
Manny, this is Captain O'Neill with the Fort Bragg Police Department, and I can kind of address some of John's saying. We had considered this. We can't do a whole lot for his hotel guests. However, the entire Glass Beach Drive is wide open for parking, as long as it's not typically camping parking, and they could technically access his hotel by the trestle. That will provide him some relief, hopefully, on that. As for the public safety standpoint, I met with Ambulance Director Davey Beek today and Chief Steve Orsi. We're expecting minimal to no delays on emergencies on that side. If we can't get a bird in to pick somebody up, if it's that type of delay, like they brought up, we have the 6x6. And what we'll do is we'll get an ambulance to one side of the trestle, move them across the trestle on that. Or in our cases, and like if somebody has to be arrested, we'll be using the trestle. We will have units available on that side of the bridge. So if CHP does need some assistance, as long as it's not all the way up at 101, we'll be able to provide that. So from the public safety side, we're expecting very little anything. The only delays you may have is non-emergency stuff. If you call us at 3 o'clock in the morning to report something that's not going on, we may not make it out to you until the bridge opens up. But if there's a suspect involved or active crimes, we'll be over there.
Thank you, Thomas, for that information. Very helpful tonight. Our next question, as a longtime resident on Pudding Creek Road, I hope that Caltrans will put a stoplight at the intersection of Pudding Creek Road and Highway 1. At the very least, if no stoplight is scheduled for the future, then keep the speed limit at 25 miles per hour until further north past the intersection. So this resident is wondering, will there be a stoplight placed at the intersection of Pudding Creek Road and Highway 1?
I'm not sure if our traffic operations engineer is here. So I did forward this question to our traffic engineer, and I don't have a response at this time, so I will respond, or we will respond after this meeting.
All right, great. Thank you, Karen. And again, if you have a question tonight in the chat section, just give us your question, comment, and we'll do our best tonight to answer that your questions for this Pudding Creek Bridge construction project. Again, you can also find more information on the Pudding Creek Bridge webpage on the Caltrans District 1. And as construction continues and gets into later in June and the summer months, you'll want to follow us on our social media pages. We'll have traffic updates, closures, information on the construction project. That will be very useful for residents and travelers down in Fort Bragg and Mendocino County. The next question, did you say?
100%.
Oops, make sure to put yourself on mute. Our next question, did you say the slide deck will be available on the website? Yes, we will have the presentation available on the Caltrans webpage. On our Facebook page, we'll send out the link, and so everybody will be able to view tonight's meeting. Again, if you have questions for tonight's presentation, we still have time. It's a little before 6. We're here till 6:30 tonight. If you have questions for the Pudding Creek Bridge project, put your question in the chat, and we'll answer it.
Construction monitoring?
Oops.
Okay. I would, but
All right. Again, we ask, make sure you're on mute. Give us your question in the chat box, and we'll read your questions, and we'll answer the best of our ability.
I will address John's question. I don't think we really addressed it regarding the full closure hours from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. We basically looked at the number of traffic, the volume of traffic all night long, and from 10 to 4 was where the volumes were the lowest. And if we went from 12 to 6, the volumes of traffic start increasing significantly. So that's how our traffic engineers recommended the 10 to 4.
Great. Thank you, Karen, for that. Our next question tonight is from Linda. And how will traffic backup on Pudding Creek Road be addressed?
Manny, this is Jeff Wright, and if I understand the question right, they're wondering if, while we have traffic control in place, if they have an extended queue backup on Pudding Creek Road, how will that be addressed? You know, we will have flaggers at the and a signal at the end of the bridge, and in the event we get extreme backups that can't be cleared by the normal traffic operations. If it proves to be a persistent problem, we can implement flaggers to help clear queues. But you know, with the current modeling, it suggests that the queues will be minimal, and we rely on good courtesy of the public to allow vehicles to merge in. Hopefully that answers the question.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Our next question this evening, why Pudding Creek Bridge and not other bridges on the Mendocino coast?
Well, this project is a great candidate for widening. It has already been seismically retrofitted, and it has a lot of pedestrian and bicycle traffic being just at the north end of Fort Bragg and, you know, connected to Pudding Creek Road. So this was a really good candidate project.
I just add to that one, Jamie Mattioli here, corridor manager. And we do have other bridges, efforts on other bridges on the Mendocino coast. We have finalized design, and we're advertising soon for Elk Creek Bridge, further to the south. Jack Peters Creek Bridge, we expect we will advertise fairly soon here and would go out in construction next year. And there's other bridges at various stages of development at Albion and Salmon Creek. So yeah, we're approaching each bridge by the needs of that bridge. What are the conditions? Are there issues with seismic or safety or rails? And so each bridge has its own story to tell in Mendocino. It's a great question. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Jamie, for that. Our next question this evening is from Linda. Are you recommending that residents on Pudding Creek Road allow an extra 20 minutes for trips into Fort Bragg each day?
Yeah, on our current modeling is showing that Monday through Friday, we could have delays up to 20 minutes. We don't anticipate the 20-minute delay all day long, but once traffic starts to back up, it could be 20 minutes. Our current modeling is showing that the highest volumes of traffic and longest delays are between the 3 and 4 o'clock hour, but I would expect that maybe like from 2 to 5 is when you might hit those 20-minute delays. But yeah.
Yeah, that's
And then
an,
on the
that's an
weekends,
important that's an important point that Karen just made. That when we give these times out, we do give what the modeling suggests will be the worst case scenario. So for especially for locals that know that the traffic volumes and when the peak hours are, that's when those maximum delays will occur. So it'd be best to travel in the non-peak hours.
All right. Thank you, Sebastian, for that. And similar question, I think we've addressed it, but from Chantel, would you anticipate the length of the backup through the city of Fort Bragg to be with a 20-minute delay?
I honestly, we did have that length. I don't remember what it was. It was significant to where that's why we are proposing to eliminate take the signal out at Elm Street temporarily so that traffic doesn't back up at Elm Street signal onto the bridge, so that traffic can keep flowing. Southbound traffic will flow and not block the bridge for northbound traffic. So I don't remember the exact length. Go ahead, somebody else.
To build on that, this is Jeff Wright with construction. We did analyze this and worked with our traffic operations department and do the modeling. I don't remember the exact number. My recollection says it was about 1,400 foot long queue in that peak hour. And that was part of the reason why we were turning off the signal and installing stop signs at the Elm Street signal by Denny's, just to make the operational efficiency better. And we can research that and probably post that on the website when we're done to get the exact numbers so that we're correct and not quoting something incorrect here. But and again, as Sebastian or Karen, whoever mentioned it, stated that this is the maximum delay that will occur in that afternoon hours, after 2 p.m. up until maybe as late as 6 p.m. And then on either side of that, the delays are significantly less. And this is the worst case scenario that we're trying to forecast, just so that people can plan appropriately. The other thing is that hopefully people will learn when things are occurring and when the worst times are, and try to avoid the area to reduce the total traffic impacts. We realize that certain things can't be avoided, but we're just trying to give a heads up and allow people to plan appropriately so that they can meet their deadlines.
Thank you, Jeff, for that. Our next question this evening is from Travis. Would you recommend travelers use Route 20 to Fort Bragg?
I would say that travelers need to choose the best route that's good for them, that they need to make their own decisions. Highway 20 is one way to access Fort Bragg.
Yeah, I keep, if they're travelers, and using their smartphones, they might see the delays and, you know, the Google apps or what app might direct them an alternate course. We won't direct traffic, you know, to an alternate route, but they are available.
All right, great. Our next question tonight from John. Someone at the city of Fort Bragg mentioned that Caltrans may have an interest in using the vacant parking lot area at the old High Seas property parcel just north of Ocean View Lodge on the west side of Highway 1. Wanted to take this time to mention it in case there could be value for you. Let me know if that's needed, and I'd be happy to discuss.
So at this time, we are not pursuing that, but we would be interested, I guess, in these discussions, especially if we start to have significant traffic impacts. But at this time, we are hoping that traffic moves smoothly and that the traffic can accommodate that rush hour at 3 o'clock, 2 to 5, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think we're gonna wait at this point.
Our next question tonight from Julie. How do you intend to handle the turn onto
Manzanita?
There you go. Just before the Denny's.
So as part of the traffic control package that'll be established when the signal is installed, we are implementing keep clear legends that'll be installed in the intersection so that you know, we hope people will comply with the stenciling that's installed so that intersection will remain open even when there is a queue for the reversing direction of traffic, to allow an opportunity and a break in the queue for people to make that turn and hopefully improve the efficiency of the operation. We're going to have a similar stencil at Elm Street and possibly Pudding Creek if it proves necessary.
And if you have questions for our project team tonight, go to the chat, type in your question, and our team will answer your questions tonight for the Pudding Creek Bridge project in Fort Bragg.
And I'll just add to what Jeff just mentioned, in that when we have a project like this, we come at it with the initial approach for traffic handling, but we adapt to any conditions that arise. So we analyze it, you know, on a continuous basis, and when we see an issue, we will, you know, place flaggers there or adjust accordingly to try to minimize delays. Of course, you know, there's only so much we can do, but when we see a backup that impacts an intersection or has other impacts, you know, we do see how far the queue backs up, and we do make sure that, you know, it doesn't back up and cause other issues.
Thank you, Sebastian, for that. Our next question, how long will the project take, and will construction be just in the summertime?
So right now, the anticipated construction schedule is to complete this year. We're hoping to be completed by October 15th. There is the potential that the project could run a little longer than that based on either material delays or construction delays. You know, the only thing certain in construction is that some things will change. But the current expected duration of this project is to be one season and hopefully be wrapped up by fall.
All right, thank you, Jeff, for that. Again, we still have time. If you have questions for the project, give us your questions right now in the chat, and we'll answer your questions. Also, if you'd like to email us if your questions, our team will do that as well. And you can send your questions to Manny Machado at .ca.gov. Again, that's manny.machado at dot.ca.gov.
And I'll just go ahead and take this time to highlight to everyone that we understand that every single closure, every delay is an impact to, you know, all the locals, the tourist traffic, the economy. And with only right now, like Jeff mentioned, we are looking at 10 nights where we have to have a full closure to place these precast structural beams. And that is done so that we can build this bridge as efficiently as possible. If it was standard construction methodology where we construct forms, pour concrete, that takes a lot longer. We're pouring the concrete off-site in a yard, and then we bring it on a truck and use a crane to place it. So it goes much, much faster. So it's pretty innovative construction techniques that are going on. And we've done everything possible to minimize delays and closures. And we will do everything that is possible working with the contractor.
Thank you, Sebastian. Well, Karen, hey, we'll give it a few more minutes, but anything else you'd like to add for tonight's presentation? Actually, we do have a question. Have you met with the school district to enable the scheduling of school buses once school starts?
I don't think we've had that explicit coordination because it was anticipated that the closures would be completed before school resumes, but we will reanalyze the schedule and see if we will be impacting the school schedule, and we will have a coordination effort with the schools. But it may be that the schools will need to work with us in the event that we still have extended closures to increase their busing schedules requisite with the anticipated delay based on our traffic modeling.
And our traffic operations branch, I don't think is on this meeting, on this call tonight, but when they look at a traffic handling approach to a project and when closures are available, they do reach out and communicate with all the critical infrastructure, schools, that type of thing. So that was taken into account. But as Jeff said, if things change and we have an impact upon schools, various things, we would definitely work to adjust to not have those impacts.
Do we have the 10 dates for the full closures in the hours?
Yeah, that's in the presentation. As Karen alluded to, that's the initial schedule from the contractor.
Yeah, it's the next slide, Manny.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, we have if somebody could just go over again the full closures.
As is stated on the slide here, we're anticipating 2 nights from July 12th to July 14th, 3 nights from July 17th to July 20th, 3 nights from September 11th to September 14th, and 2 nights from September 23rd to September 25th. And those are the nighttime closures. We would be back open to one-way reversible control after 4 a.m. And as just so that the public is aware, we do have a by the minute liquidated damage clause in our contract to the contractor as an incentive to make sure that they're opening these closures on time.
All right.
So
sorry, go ahead.
What that means is the contractor gets a financial penalty if they're not back open to traffic by the time that they're required to.
And we did have a comment. There are summer school buses, so we will definitely look into that. Next question. For residents north of Fort Bragg, do you have any recommendations?
Well, I think the recommendation would be to take the information that's been provided tonight and take that into planning for your travel forecasting and allow a little extra time. As was stated by Karen, we're anticipating the worst delays to be from 2 to 6 p.m. in the afternoon. Our modeling suggests that we have 3 to 7 minute delays the majority of the rest of the day. And so just planning a little ahead in the morning would probably be a good thing, or in the evening time, whatever's necessary. We're sorry for the inconvenience, but we need to get this improved so that we can meet the mission and vision and goals for increased mobility with this project.
And regarding the full closures, those will be, advance notice will be given at least a week in advance, via a variety of methods. So locals should be able to see those and plan ahead.
Thank you for that. Just waiting just to give it a few more minutes, just so we have any more questions. Karen, anything you would like to add tonight before we wrap things up?
I would just say to be safe and to be aware of construction and the contractor and the workers, and make sure we're driving safe and slow. We don't want any injuries or out there with the workers or collisions. So be safe.
All right, definitely good advice. All right, well, if we don't have any more questions, again, more information can be found on the Caltrans District 1 webpage for Pudding Creek Bridge construction. Again, if you have questions, email us, and our team will answer those questions for this project. Again, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight for the Pudding Creek Bridge construction project. And thanks for joining us. And again, this meeting is being recorded, and we'll post it to the webpage, and then also Caltrans District 1 on Facebook and other social media. But with that, again, thank you for joining us tonight, and have a great evening, everyone.